talk turtles. Now, turtle populations are crashing around southeastern Australia. The problem is that foxes are eating their eggs and also killing the mother turtles. Scientists estimate that along the Murray River, turtle numbers have fallen by about 90%. They're now asking people along the river to become citizen scientists and log every sighting of turtles and also turtle nests. This will create a database that will help scientists identify breeding sites and hotspots so they can come up with strategies to save the turtle. Ricky Spencer is from the University of Western Sydney. Hi, Ricky.
Good morning.
Which species of turtle are we talking about here?
Well, hopefully nationally, but essentially we're talking about turtles on the Murray River, where the bulk of the work has been done in terms of looking at declines. But pretty much wherever you find foxes, I suspect that we are seeing a sort of a potential national crisis of turtle declines.
It's a familiar story, isn't it? Foxes
it is,
killing the wildlife. I thought the turtles were generally quite safe though, because of this natural protection with the shell.
They do, but the problem, what we have here is turtles that actually pull their heads to the side. So they're not like the cartoon, turtles that pull their heads and legs in fully. And the foxes really have a muzzle that can actually exploit that and actually pull their heads, their legs out and actually kill them. So maybe some native predators like goannas, that sort of thing, might have found it more difficult, which they potentially evolve with. But no, foxes don't seem to have much trouble in terms of killing the females, but also finding the nests, which 95% odd of nests are destroyed every year.
That many, gee.
Yeah.
So the natural defence just doesn't work with introduced or pest species. It's
Well, it does to some degree, and certainly obviously the natural defence really isn't much defence against a car, if they're walking across the roads and things like that. But foxes are very good at actually really extracting the heads, the legs, and what they essentially do is then rip them off and eat the insides, eat the eggs from the inside as well.
So it is a food source. That's why the foxes
absolutely.
Are going after.
And you find, particularly around nesting season, foxes know, and we can potentially even use the when foxes are running along the river banks and the lagoons, those sort of things, that that turtles are probably nesting around that time.
Yeah. Turtles, don't they play quite an important role or critical role to the health of river systems? Yeah,
look, we think they do, but not much. When you actually look into the scientific literature, or actually, when people are just generally talking about river systems and health, turtles don't really get a mention. But there's a couple of species. There's one particular that we've really dubbed the vacuums of the river, and that they just love to eat anything that's dead. They eat algae, dead carp, those sort of things. That they're probably good at turning big dead things into recycling them into the river, so that they really don't make it that stinky, and really keep processes happening.
So a service that's beneficial to all of us, really. Graham Stockfeld's with me as well. Graham's president of Turtle Australia. You're also a train driver, Graham.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, get around rural Victoria a bit. Do you see? Have you noticed the decline in turtle sightings?
Well, not directly, because I haven't been looking at them for that long. But talking to people from the past and the gangers and that work on the railways, they tell me that they used to get hundreds and hundreds of turtles caught on the tracks at various locations, and that just doesn't happen anymore. I see a few. They see small numbers, but none of the huge numbers that they used to see back in the 70s.
Well, whereabouts are we talking? What regions?
Well, one particular area was near Lake McCowan, which has now been decommissioned, I believe. But there used to be a lot of turtles migrate out of Lake McCowan at various times of the year. A lot of eastern longnecks. I've seen them up around the Swan Hill area on the way to Shepparton, and closer to town, Broadford, areas like that. Broadford, during the drought, there were large numbers I want to say large numbers, 20, 30 at a time, I'd see on various days. So they're all over the place.
Do you spot them from the train?
Yeah, you get good at seeing that. You get to know the shape and the reflection from the shell. It's and they become quite easy to spot once you know what you're looking for.
So if you're on a regional train and it's going at snail's pace, turtle.
We're going on quite quickly, but yeah.
Ricky, they do actually get out and move around from water source to water source a fair bit, don't they? So I guess if you're calling on the community and people like Graham to spot them, you will get a reasonable idea of populations?
Yeah, look, there's particular times of year. Right now they're pretty quiet, but from around October to December, that's real peak time. They come out, most species will come out and nest, and we're really, part of our, the community effort that we're going to have is a turtle month really to highlight that and get people involved, become citizen scientists and actually mark where they see turtles and where they've been killed. But particularly in that time from October to December, pretty much around, well, for a lot of Australia, is peak time for turtles to come out. But any time in summer, there's certain species that get out for unknown reasons, really, why they're wandering around. Yeah.
And so you're going down this path that I see a few groups have gone down now, where you come up with a mobile phone app, a smartphone app, and people can just log it, photograph it, log it as they see it.
Yeah, and for the general public, and essentially, we're starting a large project over the next few years to address these declines and look at management options. But obviously, particularly throughout the whole Murray, a group of scientists can't do it alone, and that's where we actually see the community groups. We've got Indigenous groups, we've got management groups that really can do the bulk of this to help identify hotspots, because to manage them, I don't think turtles are that hard to actually manage. It's just where to start, and that's the problem. But
what are your chances of preserving these three species that we've mentioned? If the population's fallen by 90%, you're up against it, aren't you?
Yeah, look, and that's only in some areas. And the big thing about turtles is that they have extreme longevity. So some of the oldest vertebrates on Earth now, like the oldest animals on Earth, are tortoises and turtles. So if we can actually identify spots and manage areas, and particularly areas that are vital for recruitment throughout the river, we don't have to manage the whole river. We can actually identify really important areas, and if we can basically reduce the nest predation rates, because they're pretty good at living, as in living a long time, and if you can actually get some recruitment, not just, right now we've got virtually no recruitment, we've really got a real good chance of actually addressing the decline.
So you've got quite an ageing population at the moment, have we?
Yeah, that's right. They're sort of getting to the, there's still lots of turtles out there, but, when you stick a trap in, when we're doing our work down there, we're only catching the big old individuals who are probably 50 years plus, but some of them may be upwards, closer to 100, but we just don't know that. But
sounds like the profile of a farmer in Australia.
Yes, you just don't catch any of the little ones, and that's what we really intend to address.
Yeah, so but you won't. Look, the chances of getting rid of foxes are about zero, aren't they? So what do? Do you fence off areas that are important for breeding?
You don't need. There's no way we're ever going to get rid of all foxes, and that's where it's really important to identify hotspots for nesting. And the thing is, it's really predictable when turtles nest, so we can actually manage foxes for particular times of year. We know when they're going to nest. Those, particularly in some areas, those first storms of spring, early summer. So you can actually, have an impact around those times. And the thing is, like, you don't have to get nest predation rates down to zero. Even if you could get them down, by increasing recruitment by 10, 15%, every year or every couple of years, that's going to have a far bigger impact than doing nothing at all.
Ricky, we're about to discuss Maremma dogs and how they could be used to protect bandicoots. Is there any possibility of guardian animals being used to protect turtles? Is that an area looked at all?
Well, I don't think the Moramas also would actually protect the turtles, but you could actually... There's a whole range of different things that we're actually testing now, from non-lethal control of foxes to targeted areas. And that's the thing with turtles, that they do have preferred nesting areas. So you could actually target particular nesting beaches, because they don't just randomly nest everywhere. There are some real hotspots for nesting, and you could, like you said, fencing may be an option, or targeted baiting, rather than just standard baiting over a big distance, where you might actually just target certain areas. And like I said, you only need to do it for a small amount of time. You just have to knock the foxes down just before the nesting period, and then the nests really have a good chance if they can survive the first couple of weeks.
All right. Well, good luck with it. And in the meantime, we need the public to, especially in that October to December period, get out and record their sightings. Thanks a lot, Ricky.
TurtleSat's the app, and we have a website, TurtleSat, which is Turtle Survey and Analysis Tools. turtlesat.org.au. It's a free app. And even if you don't have mobile phones, you can do it all through the website as well.
Get out there and start counting turtles. Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you.
Ricky Spencer from the University of Western Sydney. My thanks to Graham Stockfeld as well, the President of Turtle Australia and train driver.